Hey guys, hello and welcome. Stefan with S&E's Garage. In typical fashion, you get one project done and something that's been running good for months, for years, since you bought it, decides that it no longer wants to cooperate. So this Dodge has a 132 amp alternator in it, stock factory alternator. And it decided that it didn't feel like charging its batteries anymore. So driving home from dropping something off, I think I sold the lawn tractor, and on the way home with the trailer connected, it decided that I don't want to charge anymore. And I had a limp at home. It was nighttime. I had to go home with my parking lights on because the headlights were draining the batteries too far, making the truck do some weird stuff. So what we're doing now is we got our tried and true Toyota here. We got our jump box. And what we're doing is using the Toyota to charge the batteries on the Dodge just enough to where I can get it started and over to the garage, which is where we are going to start the process of replacing this alternator. So let's hop in this Dodge real quick. It's been running for about 5 minutes, and see if she'll start. I don't know if it's going to be enough to turn this thing over, but oh, cool. All right. So we got her running now. Let's disconnect the cables and move it. Always disconnect negative first. Okay, and then positive. Don't ever let the cables touch. Alright, and I'm just going to throw these things on the ground for right now. We're going to move our tried and true Toyota Camry with 168,000 miles. We're going to move this out of the way. Alright, and we're going to go hop in that Dodge, and we're going to get replacing that alternator. This thing has been absolutely flawless, other than a couple of hub bearings and a set of ball joints and some tires. It's been great, so I can't even really complain. But I do know that the batteries are not being charged. You can see where the voltmeter is. It's usually standing straight up at 14 volts. It's nowhere near that. If I turn the headlights on, it might even do some weird stuff, but I'm trying to not have it do that because we need it to run until I can get it to the side of the garage. Alright, so we're going to work right around here, which is perfect. So we're going to shut her down. There's my neighbor's dogs again. I just want to show you guys what I bought for this thing. We've got a 160 amp Remy alternator. It's not original equipment, but Remy makes a excellent alternator. And how you can tell the 160 amp from the 130 amp is the position, of the two plugs. The 130 amps plug is on the back, I believe. The 160 amp is on the side. So we are going to have to do some wiring modifications, very slight, to make this work. And what we also did, say hi, Chica. Hello. She just pooped all over the floor, so she's getting punished. And we got two Walmart EverStart Max batteries for this thing. So we're going to start with getting these batteries out, disconnecting them, getting them out of our way, and then we're probably going to have to pull that air intake to get access to the alternator. So let's get started. So believe it or not, this truck is actually too tall for me to use my tripod, so we're just going to pick it up here. We're going to take these two battery terminals off, and we're going to take these two battery terminals off on this side. You're always going to do negative first, and they all appear to be 13 millimeters. I am not the original owner of this truck, so I am not sure if they are original or not. They look original, but yours might be different. So let's go ahead and disconnect those terminals on both sides, negative first on both sides. And then we're gonna figure out how to get this aftermarket AFE air intake out. We got both of our battery terminals off on this side and on this side. So now what we're going to do, if you look down there, there's our hold down for the battery. It's probably like 10 or 11 mil. There's probably going to be one on each battery. I mean, there's definitely going to be, but I assume they're both the same size. And we're going to get these batteries out, because these batteries, I actually have a core charge on them, believe it or not, from Walmart. It ends up being almost $30 for both batteries. So we're going to load them up in the car, and we're going to bring them back and get some money back. But let's get the batteries out with those hold downs I showed you. Take it from there. Alright guys, we got our two batteries out. Now it's worth mentioning here, whenever you replace an alternator, it's not 100% necessary to replace the batteries. But you never want to install an alternator in a car with a weak battery, because you're going to stress that alternator out right out of the box. And this truck, when I bought it 2 years ago, came with these batteries, and I'm really not sure how long they've been in there. There's no date codes on them, so I couldn't even tell you. But I'd rather play it safe, you know, for an extra 200 bucks, put some batteries in the truck, and then I know the charging system is up to snuff, especially for the winter. So that's why I tend to do that. I tend to play it safe and over replace, just so I know the truck, car, whatever is going to be reliable. So up next, we're going to have to disconnect this air intake down there from the turbo. There's a couple connectors we have to get out, a hose clamp, and we're going to lift this intake out, and then we can get the heat shield out. So I'm actually a complete liar. These do have a date code, September of 2017, so they are about 4 years old, and it is definitely not a bad idea to replace them. These are October of 2017. So, yep, I made a good call. So we got our air intake out. Now we have to get this shield out. Looks like there's going to be one bolt there and one here. This is probably going to be like a 10 or an 11, and that looks like maybe a 14. So this is aftermarket. Yours might still have the stock intake on it. It's probably going to be pretty similar, but that's how I'm doing this one. So let's get this heat shield out. Alright guys, I got that air shield out. I now have a clear shot directly at the alternator. Now to get this thing out was a little bit of a pain in the butt, because right here it's through bolted, and I totally forgot that, so I had to pull this fender liner here down and you know, get it out that way. So now I have to get something on the tensioner here, take the tension off the belt, get the belt off the alternator, and I can start working on getting the alternator out. Looks like there's going to be a bolt here, and there's one underneath it up here, right where my finger is behind the belt. So let me get the tension off this belt. We'll take it from there. Alright guys, so I don't know if you can see it. This right here is the tensioner. In the front of the tensioner, there's a receptacle for a 1/2 inch drive, which is what we have here. We have a 1/2 inch breaker bar. We're going to put this into that receptacle, and we're going to take the tension off of the belt and just slip it off of the alternator. And then we're going to start getting all this wiring off of the back of the alternator. And like I said, we may have to extend this wire here, because the wiring for the 130 amp alternator and the 160 amp is in a different spot. So let's go ahead, let's get the tension off this belt. I'll try to get that on camera. I don't know if I can or not, but let's see. Alright, so that was extremely tricky without taking the fan shroud out. And to take the fan shroud out, I would have had to use my fan removal tool with an air hammer, and I don't have them here because they are at work. So I managed to wedge this in there and make it work. The belt is off of the alternator. So now we can go ahead and start getting this wiring off for the alternator. This one is a locking connector here, so we're going to have to remove this. The lock is actually broken. Someone's been in here before, as you can see. So that is off. And now this one should just be a 12 or 14 millimeter or 10 millimeter, whatever it is, bolt after I remove this shield. And then we can go ahead Yes, and get the alternator out. There's the, where's my finger? There it is right there. Take that out, we'll disconnect this wire from it, and we can start taking the alternator out. Alright, so we got that 13mm bolt off of the alternator, and we're able to take our charging cable off of it. So now we're going to go ahead and take the two bracket bolts that hold the alternator on out. They look like they're probably 15s, but I'll start taking them off and I'll let you know. We got one here, and then there's one down there. So we'll get them off and be back with you. Alright guys, so we got the old alternator out, and I kind of wanted to share with you the actual failure on this thing. Now, on modern cars, their alternators have a clutch that prevents you from overcharging the system or basically taking a load off of the engine when it's unnecessary. And if you listen, this clutch has actually failed. If you look at the blades inside, when I spin this, those blades are hardly spinning. So this clutch is what actually failed. If we look at our new alternator here, we're going to take it out, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to spin it. You'll see that it spins at the same speed as the pulley, whereas this one does not. So the next thing we're going to do is put these things up next to each other, and we're going to make sure that all the bolt holes line up, and they both do. Now, like I told you, this is the higher amperage alternator than the one that I'm removing. So the plugs are going to be in a different spot. These are on the side, these are on the back. So if you're not upgrading to the higher voltage alternator, you're going to want your plugs to be in the same spot. If you are upgrading, they're going to be a little bit different, but it's still, you know, you can make it work in either truck. So let's get this alternator mocked up, mounted in, and let's start getting it back together. Alright guys, so we got our new alternator in and marked up. We extended our wires where we had to and rerouted them. We got them connected. I'm just going to go grab a zip tie and kind of zip this so it don't come off. This basically protects the electrical system from arcing out on anything. And then we're going to go ahead and slip this belt back over the alternator, and from there we can really start, you know, getting this thing back together. So let's just keep on moving and get these batteries in, you know, get our air intake in, and go from there. Alright, we slipped our belt back on. We got it, like I said, all our wiring done. I'm going to grab a zip tie that on, and we're just going to make sure all of our pulleys are still in alignment with the ribs on the belt. They all look good. So now we can start getting these batteries in. Well, first we're going to do the air intake, like I said before. So let's get going. Alright guys, we got our air intake back in. All of our clamps are lined up, tightened. This clamp is tight, filters on, air box, if you want to call it that, is in. So now we're going to put the two batteries in. We're going to connect the positives on each side first, and then the negatives on each side first. You never want to connect one battery completely and then go to the next, because you can short things out. So you want to do one positive at a time and then one negative at a time. So let's get the batteries in. Alright guys, we got both of our positives connected on both sides. So there's the positive connected, negatives not. Positive connected, negatives not. So now we're going to pull our negative caps off of the battery. Same thing on that side, and we're going to connect them. Batteries are in and connected. Inner fender liner is back in. Air intake is back in. Everything's back together. Moment of truth here. Can't be a moment of truth without keys. We'll be right back. Take two. Cycle the ignition on. Let it do its self-check. It's really not cold enough for it to need glow plugs. I'm just going to let that little red light stop blinking. There we go. Let's fire her up. Let's see what we got. We got our alternator charging at a nice 14 volts. We got a check engine light on, probably for low battery voltage, but let me grab my scanner. Let's go scan that, just, you know, cross our T's and dot our I's. Any minute now. P0541, so let's look that up, see what it is. So we got a code for an intake air heater circuit low. It's probably because the batteries were completely dead. So I'm just gonna clear it. If the code comes back, I'll dig into it a little further. Maybe one of the wires isn't connected or something. But I am just gonna erase this code for now. Probably gonna have to turn the engine off to get it to clear. It didn't clear. Yep, so let's erase that. All right, code should be gone. Yep, and it hasn't come back. So we'll drive it around a little bit, make sure she's okay. But that should be it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if this video helped you. Hopefully by the end of this video, you will have also either replaced and or upgraded the alternator in your 6.7 liter Cummins. Take it easy.